G'day legends, how's it all going? Yeah, it's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, been busy, projects on the go as always, but in the meantime I have racked up a few thousand kilometres on the old girl, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to let you know where I'm at with shit and what still needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. So let's go and have a look. Actually, before I show you that, those that have been following me for a while, I've done a bit of a reno on the. This is why it's taken so long. I built this outdoor kitchen, air fridge and TV and kegerator and all the rest of it, smoker, ceiling and all that. So anyway, that's why the car hasn't been done for a while. Anyway, so what are we up to with the old girl? Okay, where do I start? Needs a wheel alignment. Still haven't had the wheel alignment done, and the reason I haven't done a wheel alignment is simply because I went to a wheel alignment shop, specialises in old cars, and he couldn't put his clamps on the back wheels because there's not enough room in the guards. So therefore he can't do a wheel alignment because he's got to put the back clamps on and align the front wheels to that. So the front wheels are pretty bald on the inside, so something needs to be done about that. That's okay, I'll get there. Why haven't I done a wheel alignment? Right, one of the things I'm not totally happy about, maybe it was an error in my judgment, was putting the single leaf mono springs on the back, the Caltrac style one from Motorpad. Now, I'd just like to say there's nothing wrong with their kit. Their kit is actually really good. It's probably more my choice. I should have probably done more research. That is a drag racing setup, and you know, for a street car, what I find is my car bobs up and down a little bit down the road. So if you're doing 100 k's an hour down the road, the boot sort of, you know, the back of the car is sort of going like that. I've overstated that, but it is a little bit. I'd love to put a second spring in there. I'm going to go to Springworks and see if they can do that. I've been told by another mob that you can't, so the next step will be shockies. You know, I've got Coney adjustables in there. Haven't even looked at them. I don't know what setting they're at. I'd like to stiffen the dampening up on the shockies, and hopefully that might make a bit of a difference, but we'll see. The other thing about this suspension that I'm not a huge fan of is how low that hangs down to the ground. That needs to be, I need to cut that off. So it's another job I've got to do, is I'm going to move that up. I'm not into drag, like, you know, full on drag racing. So I'm going to move that up to the next setting and cut those two bottom ones off. So I'll just cut the bottom of that plate off. And it is what it is. So at least I won't be smacking on everything here, which is way too low, as you can see. So that's done. I'm not sure if I told you, but I had it tuned, and they did a really good job of it, and it's idling really well. It's not using as much fuel, it's not as fuely, it's not running on anymore, and the result I got was 500 horsepower at the rear wheels on the dyno, so pretty happy with that. I'm having a few issues with the heating and cooling system. I've got the Davies Cray controller. I'll take you inside. Sorry about the lawnmower in the background, I'm not sure if you can hear it. So, right, I've got this Davies Cray controller. Now, what that is you take your thermostat out, and it controls your electronic water pump, and your along with the water pump, it controls your thermo fans, right? So what I did, another mistake I've made, it's all learning, it's all good too, is I put the sender unit for the Davies Craig controller on the bottom of the outgo side of the radiator, so the cool side of the radiator. So the Davies Craig controller thinks that it's running fairly cool. And basically what I'm getting at is that the bloody thing's running too cool as far as I can tell. So the oil temperature barely gets up to 160, and I've read it needs to be sort of 190, 200. If anyone knows anything different, and now obviously we're talking Fahrenheit, if anyone knows anything different, let me know. But basically what I think I should do is change the thermostat's location. So I'll put the Davies Craig controller thermostat in the thermostat housing instead of on the cool side of the outgo side of the radiator, and I'll put the gauge thermostat on the outgo side of the radiator. So that'll tell me how cool the water is as it's going into the motor, and the Davies Craig controller can do its thing with a more accurate, I mean, it's not inaccurate, it's just it can do its thing with the coolant temperature straight off the motor. So that's another thing. What else? So I've got to mind the rubbish. I've just got to finish doing mounting this, the MSD digital 6AL ignition. What was holding me up is, I think I haven't shown you fully yet, but just changing this location. So this it'll be in this video, I'm pretty sure, so I'll edit that into it, but you'll see it. So this was here, and I've plastic welded it into there, and now I've got to mount that. I've got to put I'm going to build a housing, or whatever, not a housing, but you know what I mean, for that to sit in there. I've got to put the stereo in here still. I still need a handbrake. So there's plenty of jobs I've still got to do. I haven't quite finished a lot. The windscreen wipers still don't work. So yeah, I've sort of I've done a few thousand Ks just to see how it's running and all the rest of it. And look, at the end of the day, it's running really, really well. It's just because I built that outdoor kitchen, built it out of brick, and then clad it with the stack stone. That took months. So you know, that's sort of impacted on me being able to work on the car. So now that that's finished, I'll be back into the car. I have been driving it. I probably, you know, I won't say I probably shouldn't, but certainly, you know, looking for trouble if someone pulls me over and I don't have a working handbrake and a bloody set of windscreen wipers. So that needs to be rectified. Now, the other thing I've got to do, I've just remembered, is got to mount the washer bottle. You've probably seen it. Still need to put this into the boot. There's the filler. Mount that. It does have the hose goes into the cabin. I think you go to a fish shop and you get a one-way check valve that goes in line at the washer end, and what that does is holds a head of pressure, so it's always got a head of pressure there. Obviously there's wiring still loose that needs to be wrapped up and terminated. Some of them are speakers, some of the just haven't finished that, and a lot of that's for the stereo, that kind of wiring there, and the RCA cables are for the stereo. Shut that. There's the I had a bit of an alignment issue with the belt on the alternator, and that is it's marginally loose too, I reckon. So I had to adjust. I got a new belt. It was hard to find one that actually fitted properly. I had to adjust that right out to the chassis rail, and clearly it's not good enough. I've got another belt there. I've just got to get around to doing it. At this stage, I think that's about it. Still got to do this trim on the boot, which I've got. and I haven't put it in because of this scratch here. There's a couple of little scratches that my panel beater is going to rectify before I put that trim on. And other than that, everything's cool. Something fairly major, one of the other fairly major things, of course, that I forgot to mention is this wheel has a spacer in it because it rubs on the inside of the guard. The tyre rubs on the inside of the guard if you don't have space. I'm pretty sure I've told you that in a previous episode. So I've got longer. I've got longer wheel nuts, wheel lugs in there, so that's all good. But I've still got a pinion angle vibration as well. So everything ties into really what needs to happen, I believe, is the diff needs to come out. I need to cut off the mounts for the the diff mounts. I need to cut them off. And then what I'm going to do is rotate the diff properly, because I've actually got 4-degree wedges in there at the moment. It was really bad, that driveline vibration. 4-degree wedges on the diff went a long way to rectifying that issue, but it's still a little bit out. The guy that fitted the clutch for me did tell me that it was like at 9 degrees and it should be like 3 or 4 degrees. So 4-degree wedges off that 9 degrees leaves 5. Still too much, I think, so obviously, and it's a little bit of a vibration there. So the diff needs to come out. We'll rotate those, what do you call it, the mounts. I can then put the center the diff as well properly, so I don't have to use a wheel spacer. So you know, so before I do all that, you know, I need to do all that before I can do the wheel alignment, really. If the diff is going to come out, I need to sort that out so that the diff's centered and proper. So the wheel alignment can be done. So, you know, everything's in its process, and that's obviously a pretty big job, a little bit of a job there. So, you know, if I can get that sorted, then once the diff's out and back in, and the pinion angle vibration is sorted, and maybe get those springs stiffened up, or if I can, or have a look at those shockies at that time. Then once all that's done, to do the wheel alignment, I've just got to get some 14-inch Ford wheels, just the standard Falcon wheels, and put them on the arse end, so we can do a wheel alignment with them. As I say, the clamps won't fit in with the big wheels that are in it. And then that's sort of pretty much squared away then. So then I can move towards, you know, other things. There's probably a few other small things that I've failed to mention, but at this stage, that pretty much is pretty much a summary. As I say, I've done about 2,500 Ks on it, and it hasn't missed a beat really. It's been really good. It's got heaps of power. Yeah, just happy with it as a cruiser. So with that, let's go for a spin, and I'll try and show you that gauge, and then I'll wrap up this episode. It's only a short one, and hopefully in the moving forward into the future, I can get a bit more time to work on it. And someone said, no one said it to me, I think it was on another YouTube channel, they said the last 10% is always takes the longest, and I've got to be honest, it has done, because what happens is it's drivable and I can drive it, so you sort of just put all those little jobs off and start and prefer to drive it, you know what I mean? So yes, it certainly does take a long time to do that last 10%, but you know, I'm not one to sort of let projects sit there and not complete it, so I will get it done. So at this stage, thanks for watching, and I'll go for a spin, and yeah, we'll wrap it up just here for now. Thanks, guys. Right, coming into the shed, we've got the, I'm working on this centre console for that gear shifter. So what I've done is I've just unscrewed everything from the console. And then what I did was ordered a second, decorative panelling to go into here. The reason being is the gear shifter no longer lines up in That's not going to sit there properly because there's nothing behind it. But that's where the factory shifter would be. My shifter needs to be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to plastic weld that into here, so the gear shifter's forward. Then I'm going to get this second panelling that I've ordered. You can see, you might be able to see, I've marked where the wings are. I'm going to cut these wings off here, cut the wing off there. I need to cut that out a little bit here. And basically that'll be straight down there, and that'll be straight down there. And use this part to fill that hole there. So that's what we're doing. So that's today's job. You can see I've already sit this in here. So this, I've cut that out where I want I've cut that out of the wood paneling where I want that to move forward. Now I'm just going to cut this out, move it forward, and then cut the wings off that down here and down here, and then have that sitting over here and meeting in the middle somewhere. So that's that should look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. In actual fact, I'm pretty happy with the way that's cutting. I was a bit concerned about cutting into this, but you can see there that it hasn't lifted any of the what do you call this? That's just a sticky. It's just a contact adhesive. That wood paneling. It's not obviously not real wood paneling. So yeah, I was worried it would bubble and melt and do all sorts of weird shit, but it's actually going all right. So so far so good. I'm just going to fix these edges up in here. Cut this out. So I might get onto that. I started doing it yesterday. Along here, you can see I've just cut along here. Started doing that yesterday and then run out of battery on the Dremel. So I'll continue on with that now. Happy days. Put my glasses on, I might be able to see a bit better. Alright. Out. Now that needs to go here. So what I'll do is I'll just mark that up there and then cut this piece out. I'll get on with it. Righto. So that was the original opening. We've moved it forward to where it needs to be. Now I need to plastic weld this into there. Then I'm going to try and plastic weld this into here. Filling that gap. And yeah, I reckon that's going to work fine. Then do the trim, cut those trims to match. So far so good. So wondering, I'll have a think about this and work out which is the best way to start for the plastic welding. Might be this little piece in here. Anyway, I'll have a think about it and I'll start recording when I do it. Cheers. Right, so plastic welding. What are we going to use to fill as plastic? You're going to laugh at this, or maybe not. You might cry. But let's put this down. You've probably noticed I'm into dirt bikes and motorbikes and stuff. But yeah, I've got this CR250 94 model. I'm going to do a full rebuild on it. I've also got the CR500. But I sliced it. See these holes here? This was actually a Japanese import and it was registered from Japan. And they had a tail light on here. So I'm going to sacrifice this guard. And that is going to be my plastic. Because I've got a new plastics kit to go on that anyway. So I'll sit that there and cut that off. That is the plastic I'm going to use. I know you might think I'm a butcher, but like, I've got a new guard. It's got holes in it. It's not going to be used for anything. I'm not going to reuse it. So that is going to be my plastic for plastic welding. Happy days, hopefully. Righto. Here's my welding rods. Plenty of plastic here to fill and melt. Here's his welding rods. Oh no, plastic welding. Let's have a look at that with the clamp on it, let's see if it's holding. Beautiful. Going well. Exactly what we wanted. Righto, making a bit of progress here. So I've moved this forward. You've seen the plastic welding underneath. There's the patch. And now I've cut two of these up to make one. They're not glued down yet. And then probably what I'll do is get a little bead of black elastic just in there, just a really tiny little bead around there and around the inside of that, just to neaten it up, any gaps that might be there. But that's looking good so far. That'll sit in here, like so. Yeah, right, we'll keep going. Righto, pretty much nearly got this finished. These are just sitting up a little bit higher. I don't want to try and push them down. I want to get some glue under there and push them down. So I'm just leaving them sit up a little bit higher, the joins there. But by and large, this is the modification finished. What I intended, well, apart from being just a little black silicone line around here, I think would be suitable, and around here and on the inside there. So just a little black silicone line there, and I reckon that will do. So let's go over to the car and see how it looks. I did have one nut and bolt that I was, here it is. Alright, we'll go and whack it in. Come on. Come on. Righto. Let's have a go. All in all, that's sitting pretty well. Now I've just got this bolt to put in here. I'll put that bolt in and then I'll press record again. Right, well, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I need to, let's have a look, I'll show you. Hang on, I'll just put this phone down, the camera down for a sec. Righto. So what we've got here, oops. Okay, so what we've got here is this wide bit here. I might have to remake this bracket and have that a lot thinner down here, because that's, at the moment, that's still catching on the inside there, and it's wanting to slide the shifter backwards and forward, the console backwards and forwards, because we've got, if that's first gear, we've got all the way from first to, you know, it's wanting to move that far, which is just a little bit too much at the moment. So yeah, might have to I mean, realistically, if I took this complete bracket off, this part, might have a look at that and have that here. Or just put this on straight onto the shifter without this little bracket here. But then the gearbox, then the thing's going to want to sit further forward. So yeah, I'll have to wrap my head around it and give it some thought. Never easy. Righto, cheers. Righto. What I'll do is I'll adjust that for the gauges at the moment, so you can have a bit of a look. This is how she fires up all the time. A couple of pumps. How good is that? Takes a bit to get warm, but so 20 degrees Celsius and nothing on the temperature gauge there. When we get moving a bit. Righto. Still warming up. You can hopefully see this gauge. That's reading 135 at the moment. That's the water temperature out of the motor on the thermostat housing. All temperature still reading 0. This gearbox, the Tremec TKO 600 5-speed gearbox, is mint. I love it. 80 kilometres an hour. That's 80 there. I'm on 2,500 revs, so while it's warming up, I just sit on about 70, 75. Brings it under a bit. So the water temperature coming out of the motor now is only 140. It's Fahrenheit, obviously. The Davies Cray controller, I'm not sure if you can see that, it's a bit hard for me, I can't go touching it. But the Davies Cray controller is reading 30 degrees Celsius. That's the thermostat coming out of the radiator. If you can see that, the EWP flashing is the electric water pump. Now what this Davis Cray controller does is modulates the power from 6 volts to 12 volts to the water pump, and what that does is slows down the water pump. So as it's warming up, with that flashing slowly, EWP flashing slowly means that the water pump's only just turning over to, as it brings the engine up to temperature. That's why it's a problem having that on having the thermostat for this Davis Cray controller on the cool side of the radiator, because it's not getting a proper reading on the temperature of the the radiator. So that's why that's a bit of an issue. If, for example, that was telling me just as it comes out of the motor that the motor's now at 100 and nearly at 160 degrees, that's great. That would change how quickly the water pump would spin. So that's 4th gear. Dickhead, come on, get going. It's 100 zone. That's still 4th gear. What's she doing? Now doing just under 100, slotted into 5th, and the revs are 1.9 at about 96 kilometers an hour. 2,000 revs at 100 now. Still waiting for the oil temperature to come up. That usually takes sort of 10 minutes. It's just starting to move off 0 now, so that's good. The alternator's reading 13.9 volts. Davis Cray controller says the system is at 13.7 volts. Oil pressure's great. I don't know if you can see the oil pressure. It's about 50. And half a tank of juice, so everything's running quite well there. But yeah, she's nice to drive. Really fun to drive. Temperature is just coming up. I don't know if you can see that, I really don't. So oil temperature 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how much you can hear either, but anyway. Hopefully you're enjoying the drive, like I am. So that's it idling. Don't know if you can hear it. Beautiful. Water temperature's up 240 degrees, but this one's only 47. And that's the one that controls the whole system, so you can see why that's a bit of a problem. Engine oil temperature now is reading about 140 Fahrenheit. the engine's not getting hot because the oil's not even hot enough yet. But yeah, definitely welcome your comments to know if I'm wrong with what the oil temperature should be running at in Fahrenheit. Like, that's only 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which is bugger all. 150. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And the water, buddy, coming out of the motors, buddy, off the scale at 250. That red light, I can adjust that to come on it whenever I like, but I've got that to warn me. But then I refer to the Davies Craig controller, and it's not hot at all, so coming out of the radiator. Go to Springworks and whatever they're called, and show them the car and see if they can offer anything once they see the suspension setup. Rockingham suspension. Righto, what I'm going to do is turn you off now, and I'm going to sort this out. Going to talk to these guys. I'll talk to you. Hear that scraping? That's that fucking hanger. Well, not hanger, but the thing. Cool, I'll talk to you in a bit. This is what I'm talking about. So that water pump is now 66. I'm doing 80 kilometers an hour, and that's the outgo side of the radiator, the 66 degrees. With that EWP flashing means it slowed the water pump right down. This gauge says 210 degrees, so engine oil less than 100. 190, about 180 degrees, which I think that needs to be a little bit higher. But yeah, I'm not sure how well you can see all that. It's 70, 71, so don't know if it's just, I don't know, I really don't. I've just got to play with it a bit. All these teething problems that you've just got to iron out, eh?